Hello everybody. In this lecture I will be discussing with you about AC load line and how to draw this. You know, the DC bias point or quiescent point is the point on the load line which represent the current through the transistor, that especially the output current, and the voltage across it, especially the output voltage. Because the VC IC combination represents the Q point, and you know for common emitter mode of operation, VC is the output voltage and IC is the output current. So the Q point for a common emitter mode of operation will be represented by the coordinate VC IC, and it is measured when no external signal is applied. That means it represents the DC bias conditions of a transistor. The stability of that means there will not be any AC signal present inside the circuitry or may be connected from the external side. And the stability of the bias point or Q point may be affected by variations in parameters of from one transistor to another. That means if we change the transistor from one circuit to the other, or by temperature variations, because you know by temperature variation beta, the DC current gain of the transistor may change, as well as it may affect the reverse saturation current ICO and also the VBE, the base emitter voltage. And based on those, the output current IC will be changed, and if IC is changed, that means the Q point will be changed. So all these things I have discussed with you in the last lectures. Now in this lecture I will be discussing about the AC load line. The AC load line for a transistor circuit represents the variations that occur in collector current and collector to emitter voltage for a CE emitter mode transistor amplifier when a signal is applied. That means the difference between DC load line and AC load line is, this is in the absence of a signal, absence of an AC signal from outside, from externals, and it is AC load line means in the presence of it. So this is the basic difference. That means DC load line means it is, the idea is to fix up the Q point, that is the DC bias condition, but AC load line is to find out the AC. Another difference is DC load line is required to fix up the Q point, that means to stabilize the Q point and to fix up the DC bias condition. So that is another idea of drawing DC load line. DC bias conditions we need to establish that. But in case of AC load line, it should be especially to measure the performance measurement, especially for in case of amplification by the transistor, for in case of amplification by transistor, in case of because externally AC signal is being applied, AC signal is being applied. So this is the basic difference between the two. So let us now see the how to draw the AC load line based on a typical problem. So let us first draw the circuit, so that from there we can get the load line, get to know the load line, get to know how to draw the load line. So this is basically an voltage divider bias circuit. You are familiar with this circuit because we have seen this circuit during the discussion on biasing techniques. So in this VDB circuit, we will use this circuit to understand how to draw the AC load line. It is used as an amplifier, and you can see from here that the emitter terminal is shorted to ground via a bypass capacitor CE. you know now why this bypass capacitor and how this is being connected. This is connected because of to increase the voltage gain of this transistor amplifier. So and you can see that if this is the input signal, this is the inverted output, and why I have discussed with you why it is inverted in the last lecture, and it is also quite larger than the input. That means it is in amplified out, it is an amplified output. So using this circuit, let us see how it can be analyzed and the AC load line can be drawn. The total DC load in series with the transistor is RC plus RE. This is RC and this is RE. So we can write the total DC load is RC plus RE. This is the total DC load, and consequently the DC load line must be drawn for the resistance RC plus RE. Obviously, now with RE is bypassed by C, as C is used as bypass capacitor, the AC load is RC. So there is a difference between DC and AC load. Now for AC operation, we have seen that a bypass capacitor is connected at the parallel of RE. So all the AC signal will be catch up and pass through that bypass capacitor C, and no AC signal will pass through RE. That means RE will be excluded from the calculation of AC load. So for AC load, the only responsible resistance is RE. So this is the difference between the two. For DC load, RC plus RE, and for AC load, the load is only only RC. And a new AC load line we can draw to describe the circuit AC performance. When no signal is applied, the transistor voltage and current conditions can be indicated by Q point on the DC load line, and you know that how to do it. When an AC signal is now applied, the transistor voltage and current may vary above and below the Q point. I have discussed with you about the operation of transistor amplifier in CE mode, and there you can see you have seen that along the load line the Q point may vary as per the variation of the input AC alternating signal. Suppose the initial position of Q point is Q1, then it may go up to Q2 and gone into the saturation region at one extremity of the DC load line, and then once again it return back to another new position Q3, which may be the cutoff region of the characteristic, and then it returns to the original position of Q1. So all along the Q at the two including the two extremities of the DC load line, the Q point may vary. So you have seen this in the discussion about transistor amplifier. Now we will see that this Q point is common to both AC and DC load lines. So this is an important point, because for both the cases, by any means we need to fix the location of the Q point, and there should not be any variation about that. So for both AC and DC load lines, location of Q point must be same. So this is a very important point for the both type of analysis, for DC as well as AC analysis. Now starting from the Q point, the AC load line can be drawn by taking convenient change of collector current, suppose by del IC. If collector current is changed, because for a Q point we know that its coordinate is VC IC. Now for AC load, this is for DC load line, you know. Now for AC load line, suppose these parameters will vary IC, VC. So if that variation is a change is marked by del IC, so for the application of input signal, that means alternating signal, if the output current varies by del IC, because it will then become alternating, we have seen that. So this variation is represented as del IC, and calculating the corresponding collector emitter voltage, it should be del VC, represented by del VC. So we can write this del Vc as minus y minus, because it is inverted at the output, del Ic into Rc. Very simple. Vc equal to del ICRC we have seen, and since it is del Vc, so this is del Ic. So the current and voltage changes are then measured from Q point to obtain another point on the AC load line. So the AC load line is drawn through this new point and the original Q point. So once again I repeat how to draw the AC load line. We have initially VC-IC one Q point that is fixed for DC load line, and now since for both the DC and AC operation the Q point must be same, so one of the points should be this one, and due to the application of alternating signal at the input, IC and VC should vary alternatingly, and then IC will be represented by del IC and del VC will be the representation of change in VC, and the relation between the two is written by this equation, it is given by this equation. So this is the equation to plot the AC load line. Now you know to draw a line you need 2 points. So for one point already we have original Q, because for both the load lines original Q position original location of the Q point will be same. So one point to draw the AC load line is original Q, which is this one, and we need another point to draw the load line, and that is found from here. For once we need to put IC del IC 0 and we need to put del VC 0. From the other equation we need to take the help of other equations also, other transistor equations, but in all the cases we will be replacing IC by del IC and VC by del VC. So using those equations, once again we should be getting a new coordinate value which is del VC and del IC. So one coordinate we are having VC IC, and the new coordinate is del VC and del IC. Suppose this is a new Q, this is represented by a new Q point Q dash. So if we now join the Q dash and Q points, we should get a straight line, and thus that line should be called AC load line. Okay. Now let us see this by an example. So refer to this circuit, it is a common emitter circuit. VCC is given as 20 volt, RC 2.2 kilo ohm, RE 2.7 kilo ohm, R1 18 kilo ohm, R2 8.2 kilo ohm, and the transistor is employed, has the characteristics I am just going to draw. The characteristics of the transistor will be, you know already that x-axis it is having VCE in the x-axis, in y-axis it is IC. The characteristics will be like this. And all along this is IB equal to 0. The IB value will change, IB equal to 0 for this curve, and if you change IB, this is IB1, IB2, IB3, IB4. If you change IB, then you can get the, along this you can get the family of curves. So now let us first draw the DC load line here. Suppose that is given by this. Suppose this is the DC load line. This is DC load line. And you know as usually how to draw this, that you know. So now the first condition is you have to keep the Q point same. So here fix up the Q point for a particular value. So suppose particular value for particular value of IB2, we are fixing this Q point because it is the intersection of load line and the particular characteristic curve. So this is my original Q point. So this is original. So now So let us start solving the problem. So this is the characteristics also given about this problem, or it may be drawn from the calculations. These characteristics, it may be given or it may be drawn. First, let us draw the DC load line from the given values and this circuit. The total DC load we know from here is RC plus RE. So that is given from here. The value RC is 2.2K and RE is 2.7K. So this is as a whole 4.9 kilo ohm. So the equation from the output loop or output circuit from the above circuit will be VCE equal to VCC minus IC into RC plus RE. Very simple. We can write from here. VCC is the total. VC is the total. VCC is the total. So from there you can subtract this voltage. You could get this voltage. So VC is VCC minus this much. That is IC drop across IC doing the drop across RC, and that is IC into RC plus RE along with. But VC is this much, this drop plus this voltage plus this drop. So as a whole is equal to VCC. So if you subtract from VCC this much and this much, so you should get VC. So that is written here. So now this is the basic output equation. So now put when IC equal to 0 over here, we can get VCE equal to VCC, that is given as 20 volt in the figure. So this point, the point, if this is point A, this is VCE 0, and this means it is 20, 0, because VCE is 20. So the point A is found at IC equal to 0. Now when VCE equal to 0 in this equation, so that means IC is VCC by RC plus RE, and that is 20 divided by 4.9K, that is equal to 4.08 milliampere. Very simple. Once in this equation putting IC equal to 0 and then again VC equal to 0. So now this point B can be marked. This is point B. How much? 0, IC. That means it is 4.08 milliampere. 0, 4.08 milliampere. This much. So in this way we can get A, B 2 points. Now join these 2 points, you can get the load line, and it is called DC load line. So DC load line is passing through A and B, these 2 points. Now let us find the Q point. Now how to find the Q point? The approximate bias conditions can be quickly determined by assuming that the base current IB is too small to affect the base bias voltage VB at the input circuit. IB is too small. This is IB, the current going inside the base. So since IB is too small, so with respect to IB, the change for VB will be very much less. The effect of IB on VB will be less. So we can say that from the input loop, or input circuit, we can write VB approximately equal to, we are finding this one. So this voltage is a derivative from VCC, this much, and this voltage is across the R2, and R2 and R1 is a potential divider circuit or voltage divider circuit. So VB can be written as VCC into R2 by R1 plus R2. So now we can write here 20 volt into what, how much is R2? It is given as 8.2 kilo ohm. 8.2 into 10 to the power 3 divided by R1 plus R2. R1 is 18 kilo ohm. 18 plus 8.2 K, that means into 10 to the power 3. So you can calculate, you will get 6.3 volt. So VB is 6.3 volt. And also we can write from this portion of circuit, that the emitter circuit, it is IERE, the emitter part, emitter circuit. From emitter circuit, IERE is equal to VB minus VB. Very simple, because inside this part, this is VB, this is VB. So if we consider this loop only, so this much is VB. So from there, if we subtract VBE, we should get V, and that V is IE into RE, because IE is this current, this is IE, and it will give a potential drop across RE, and that is IERE, which is the voltage at the emitter terminal, which is V. So this IERE, nothing but V. So V is VB minus VB. You can check from here also. VB minus VB means you can write VB minus V. So VB cancels out, and this is V. So actually whatever is V is IERE. Okay. So now put the values. What is how much is IERE? VB is 6.3 we have found, minus VB is 0.7 volt, we generally assume. So this is 5.6 volt. So therefore we can say IC is approximately parallel to IE, we know, because since IB almost equal to 0, very negligible, not exactly but almost equal to, very negligible current. So we can ignore an IC, hence IC approximately IE. So that is equal to how much? VB, we can find IE from here. IE means V divided by RE. So VE divided by RE, and VE means it is VB minus VB, and we have found that as 5.6 volt. So 5.6 divided by RE is given as 2.7 kilo. So write 2.7 kilo, and this will give you 2.07 milliampere. So accordingly, we should now mark the bias point Q on the DC load line for IC equal to this value. Okay. So now let us move on to this, refer to this figure. So in this figure, for IC equal to, find the value for IC equal to 2.07 milliampere and mark the Q point accordingly. So it means this 2.07 milliampere is the current with respect to the Q point. So if this is my Q point, its corresponding IC value is 2.07 milliampere. The voltage value is still to be found. So this is written as comma 2.07. That means this Q point will represent an IC value of 2.07 milliampere. Now let us find the AC load line mathematically. Total AC load, I have already told you, total AC load is how much? RC. Now when IC, for AC we have seen that we need to change IC. So if IC changes by del IC, if we are marking this as del IC, and accordingly if VC changes by del VC, then we can write del VC is equal to del IC into RC. Okay, we have seen this at the beginning of today's discussion. So assuming a certain value of del IC, suppose del IC we are assuming here as 1 milliampere. Suppose it is changed by 1 milliampere. Then considering this, let us calculate del Vc. It is minus 1 milliampere into 2.2 kilo ohm RC value. So that means it is minus 2.2 volt. So this is del Vc. It is changing by 2.2 volt. So therefore, when IC increases by, we can say IC increases by 1 milliampere, del Vc, that means Vce decreases by 2.2 volt. Why it is decreasing? Because of this negative sign. That means if IC is increased by 1 milliampere, Vce will decrease by 2.2 volt. Okay, and this increase and decrease will occur from the original point of Q. That means original Q point position. So now plot this del Vc and del Ic on the characteristic curve here. You can obtain a new point as another point. So first plot that. So how to plot that? So first, corresponding, this is the value of 2.07 and this is the value of Vc. Now this is the original value for the Q point, for the Vc with respect to the Q point, or corresponding to the original position of Q point. Now if this Q point moves because of the application of alternating signal, we have seen that for a change of 1 milliampere in collector current will be introducing a negative change of 2.2 volt in collector to emitter voltage. So from here, change collector current by 1 milliampere. So just draw a line parallel to the voltage axis or x axis through this Q point, like this, and also draw a perpendicular on this line. Okay, before drawing the perpendicular, draw this parallel line with the voltage or x axis and extend it to cut the y axis. So this is the point corresponding to 2.07 milliampere. Now in the y axis, calculate 1 milliampere, because this is the original value of IC with respect to the original Q point. Now it is IC is increasing by del IC, and that is, we have assumed 1 milliampere. So along the upward direction, consider how much is 1 milliampere. So this is 2.07. 2.07 means it is approximately 2. So now suppose here it is 3. Another 1 milliampere means it is 3.07. So approximately it is 3. Suppose this is 3 milliampere. So now draw again a horizontal line parallel to this voltage axis, like this. Okay, and so this horizontal line parallel to this x axis or voltage axis will cut the IB3 characteristic curve somewhere around here. Suppose it is cutting over here, or maybe touching, first initially touching with here. So now you have one point over here. Suppose this is Q dash, our new Q point, and this was original Q point. So if we can now join these 2 points with a broken line, suppose like this, and extend below, this is our AC load line, the new line which is formed by joining the original Q point and the modified Q point due to the change of del IC and del Vc, which is Q dash. We by joining the 2 points Q and Q dash, we should get AC load line. So AC load line is obtained by joining Q dash. So this is the AC load line. Now one interesting thing, you can see that both the DC and AC load lines are passing through this common point Q. So this is a basic primary logic of drawing both the load lines that they must pass through the original Q point denoted by Q here. Now if you draw a perpendicular like this broken red line from the original Q point on the voltage axis, after drawing this perpendicular, again draw another perpendicular from the new Q point, which is Q dashed, on the characteristic curve on which the original Q point is located. That means this is the original Q point, it is located on this characteristic curve, and on this characteristic curve this another perpendicular is drawn. Now these two perpendiculars is having a separation, and that separation is denoted by del VCE. So that means these two perpendiculars are separated by a value of voltage, and that much is the exact voltage with which the collector to emitter voltage VCE has been changed, and because of that change, that is denoted by del VC, and because of that del VC the AC load line could be drawn and the new Q point could be found. So how to find the del VC? It is the separation between the two perpendiculars drawn from the two different Q points on the voltage axis or x axis, or maybe on the characteristic curve, you can say, for in this case. And what is del IC? How can you mark the del IC? Del IC is the length of this perpendicular which is being drawn between the original Q point and new Q point. That means from the new Q point, the perpendicular which is being drawn on the characteristic curve containing the original Q point, the length of that perpendicular will be giving you del IC. So this much is del IC and this much is del VC. So this is all about how to solve the numerical problem on DC and AC load line. And one thing for the AC load line, what we have drawn over here, how to find the slope of that AC load line? Slope of AC load line must be del IC by del VCE, and which is 1 by RC. Find from by comparing the equation, by comparing this equation with y equal to mx plus c, and you know that if you calculate what is m, that is y by x, you know, that means y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. This is why we have this is how we had to find the slope of any straight line. So going by this idea, del IC by del VC is the slope of the AC load line, which is here 1 by RC. So you can conclude from here that the slope of the AC load line, or the performance of the AC load line, performance of the transistor amplifier in terms of AC load line, will absolutely depend on the value of RC and not on the value of RE in this circuit. It will depend on this value of RC. That means the AC load we have assumed initially, we have considered initially absolutely for RC only, and there will be no contribution of RE on AC load, because we are using a bypass capacitor parallel to this RE. So no AC load is allowed to be, no AC signal is allowed to be passed through RE, and that's why from the calculation of AC load the RE is completely ignored.